Hello and welcome to the Stitch Together podcast. My name is Chrissy, I'm your host. The date is Tuesday the 19th of January 2016 and this is episode 27. Hello, it's good to be back. I would just like to apologise for the deliberate mistake in the last episode where I stated it was 2016 when it was only 2015. Kind of got ahead of myself. I apologise. Yeah, it's really good to be back. I have missed you guys. I know it's been a while, but if you have been around, if this isn't your first January watching the podcast or listening to the podcast or even reading the blog, you will know January is always a month where I'm kind of not around, basically because the end of the year involves me doing lots of stuff, social stuff that requires me to kind of recover afterwards. This year, it wasn't so much the physical chronic pain aspect of things that laid me low. It was 3 or 4 colds back to back. And that's why I'm recovering from social activities, because every single social activity I've been involved with since November has resulted in me getting a different cold. It's not been fun. So yeah, though I was really pleased that the IBS seems to be getting to a level where I can predict what's going to happen and it's not as severe anymore because of the different things I've adjusted. I was really disappointed I didn't get to go and see my other half's family. I was really disappointed not to see the kids. But hopefully next time I'll be able to manage it. But it was, yeah, I've had quite unpleasant colds because one of the things I can't do with the medication I take is I can't take decongestants. So the sinus pain is horrific because the sinus pain is made worse because of the effects of the medicine I take, and then you can't take the decongestants either. So yeah, I'm really a bit of a misery guts when I've got a cold. Ask anyone who knows me. I'm just the grumpiest person in the world and I've got a cold. So I didn't really feel like podcasting, even if my throat was up to it. So that's why I've not been around. I've been around on the boards, sort of joining in with a chatter on the craft along we've been doing. So I hope if you wanted to know where I was and what I was doing, you could have come over there. So I hope you are like me and don't actually get much opportunity to just sit, knit and watch podcasts over the Christmas New Year period because it's just crazy. And you didn't miss me at all because I am so far behind on podcasts, it's untrue. Really, really far behind. I think I'm just going to have to draw a line under basically just draw a line and start again fresh from the latest episodes that are coming up because I just don't think I can catch up. And I kind of feel like I don't want to because I'm not one of these people that goes back and watches podcasts right from the start, because I sort of think, well, if they're talking about a yarn I really like or a product that I can't get, I'll be just disappointed. So that's kind of why I don't do it, which is a bit daft really, because it's not just about yarn podcast watching, is it? Never mind. Anyway, stuff and things. We have a winner for the Journey to Atlantis shawl pattern that was kindly donated by the lovely Lara Smoot. And if my iPad will play ball, it's not going to play ball, is it? Of course it's not, because that would make things easy, wouldn't it? There we go. It's a lovely pattern, and if you want to see it more clearly, it's in the contest thread. So, and the links to the pattern are in there. Anyway, if you didn't win, you could always go and buy it. But the winner, which was drawn randomly using random.org, was entry number 2, which is the first one after mine. So this piano girl, if you get in touch with me, I'll let Lara know you've seen the episode and she can send you the pattern, and I hope you will enjoy it. I've played around with it in some different yarns, but it's not quite worked out in the yarn I had in mind. So I'm probably going to try and find something else to use, because it's a really lovely pattern and I want to show it off, and the yarn I used kind of hid it. So I want to try something else because it is a really lovely pattern, and hopefully this piano girl will really enjoy playing with it. So after that, the next big thing in Stuff and Things is the Self-Indulgent Craft Along. And that's been going great guns, and there's been a few entries in the FO thread, and there has been lots and lots of chatter, which is always good fun. And this is one of the reasons I do craft alongs, is because I really like the chatter. I like to get in and talk to people. I promised in the last episode that I would take photos of the prizes. I've done that now, and the photos are in the show notes, which is on www.stitchtogether.co.uk, and you'll see the photos of the prizes. I'm not going to show them all again, because if you're interested in them, the links are there, the photos are there. There's a beautiful project bag and 2 separate prizes of a skein of yarn each, and they're beautiful, so go and have a look. I really recommend that you have a look and go and visit the links of those particular prizes, because they're pretty, very pretty. So what you must do to enter this craft along is go over to the Ravelry group. You must be a member of the group. You must have cast on no earlier than the 25th of December, and you must finish it and take a photo no later than the 29th of February. You must post the photo in the FO thread before the end of the 29th of February. I will lock the thread when I get up on the 1st of March. That's to allow everybody across the world to get it in there at the last minute. Plus, I'm not staying up late to lock the thread. I'll get up and do it normally, and that seems to have worked in the past. So yeah, only 1 entry per person, please. Basically, because it's self-indulgent, and it shouldn't be about I've done 16 entries and therefore. It's not meant to be hard work. It's meant to be fun. It's meant to make you feel good. It's meant to be playing with pretty yarn. It's meant to be doing a pattern that you've longed to play with for a while. It's about fun, and that's why it's not got any minimum requirements of yardage. It's not got any size requirements. I hope you're not just doing washcloths. Anything bigger than a washcloth I'm fine with, but yeah, don't take the mick. Because some people are doing like full-on sweaters and cardigans and things, which is great because that's what they want to do. Other people have done hats because that's what they want to do. And yeah, it's all about being self-indulgent. So on that note, I will show you my self-indulgent craft along project, which I finished. I'm wearing it. This is Eye Blink, and it is by Heidi Allender, and I knit it from some hand spun yarn, and the yarn was spun from some John Arbon fibre, and I got it at Fibre East in 2014, and it's 40% alpaca, 40% merino and 20% silk, and I think it's the grey steel colourway, which I think is very appropriate. And I loved spinning this project so much, and I love how it's knit up. I don't know if it's how easy it is to see. Well, there we go. It's much easier to see the lace pattern against the white wall behind me. And I really enjoyed knitting this. It's a heavy fingering weight, and I started off with 740 meters and I used 620, and I made a mistake when I was knitting it. I assumed because I had really good meterage that I could make it a lot bigger than the pattern suggested. So I went this sort of middle bit, the stocking stitch bit, I went and did a few more increases than the pattern suggested, which is written into the pattern. It says you can do that, and tells you how. And then I didn't have enough to do the 3 lace repeats and the pattern said you should do. But I think, you know, 2 pattern repeats doesn't look too bad, does it? It would look better with 3. But it's so soft. I mean, I really love spinning this, and I'm so delighted the way it's knit up. It's definitely one of my favourite projects. It's makes me quite proud of my spinning, which has definitely improved in the last sort of 6 to 8 months, I think. My only problem with this pattern is, I don't know if you can see how easy it is to see. No, I can't really show you very clearly. The stocking stitch lace, because it's a straight edge, it's starting to curl up. I don't know, you probably can't see it all, but yeah, it's starting to curl up. And at the time when I was knitting it, I thought maybe it would be better with a couple of rows of garter stitch before I bound off, and I didn't do it, and I'm beginning to regret that, because it's definitely curling up and sort of showing the wrong side on the edges. So this is what I've got left. I mean, it's a reasonable amount. It's 120 meters. So I don't know whether to unpick the bind off and knit a couple of rows of garter stitch and then bind off again, or to pick up, do a couple of rows of garter stitch and bind off. I think actually undoing it would probably be quicker, wouldn't it? And it would give me a little bit of extra yarn to play with. So I could start off. I don't know. Tell me what you think. What do you suggest? What will help pull that edge back? I mean, is there a way if I sort of went into the back of the stitch and did single crochet along the back? Would that help? Let me know what you think. Because yeah, I don't want it to spoil the project, because it's so warm. I love it. It's really, really gorgeously warm, and it's a really good size. I mean, it's a good 1.5 foot longer than my wingspan, so it goes really nicely around my shoulders. And because it's this really nice dark grey, it goes with loads of stuff. I'm really, really happy with it. So let me know any ideas. See if I can do a method of making the edge lie flat. I thought I'd just try it and see if pinning it out would do the trick, but it hasn't. It hasn't done the trick, and you can see it's curled up like that. Anyway, I really love it. Apart from that, it's beautifully warm and soft. It's gorgeous. So yeah, I'm pretty proud of the project as a whole. Just want to fix that last bit. Next up is another handspun project. I showed you, actually I'm going to take this off because I want to show you the effect of this. Last episode I showed you my foolproof cowl that I knit out of my handspun Hilltop Cloud yarn, which is BFL, cashmere and silk, and this is the cowl, and I wanted to use up the rest of the handspun because I had quite a lot left. So I knit a hat with what was left, and let me see if I can find, there we go. This is putting hats on camera, never a good idea. I'm going to do it anyway. Here we go. What do you think? Goes well with the foolproof, doesn't it? It's a sock head hat by Kelly McClure, and I think this is sock head hat number 4 I've made. And I never grow tired of the pattern. It's so simple, straightforward. It fits me really nicely. I like the way it slouches. It sort of really sits nicely on the back of my neck, keeps the back of my neck warm. Because I know I've had short hair for quite a while now, but before that I had long hair for a very long time. And in winter, I really still notice the cold on the back of my neck. So having a hat I can really pull down at the back so there's no gap between the hat and the cowl. I love that. So I'm just really, really pleased with how it's come out and how well it matches the cowl. I just love how this is knitted up in stocking stitch. I just think it looks really, really good. It's fantastic. I'm so pleased with it. I kind of wish I'd done the cowl in stocking stitch as well, but then I really, really love the way it looks with the garter stitch. So in a way I've got the best of both worlds, because yeah, you see it looks nice in garter stitch as well. So yeah, really pleased with how that came out, because it's really warm. It's yeah, I've not got the percentages, but it's a very, very warm fibre, and it's having the cashmere content, and it's so silky and smooth as well. And I'm really tempted to see if I can get some more of that fibre, that base, because it was a dream to spin, it was a dream to knit, and I really love wearing it. So I think I might invest in some more if I can find it. If Hilltop Cloud is still dyeing that fibre, because I really did like it a lot, and I have to say I do love the target on the back. Makes me smile. And after that I had a hand spun monster. Now I had a bit of a disaster this Christmas with my knitted gifts for my other half's family. There are 3 boys. There's a bit of a gap between the first 2 and the third. So the first one is 13. So this year he wasn't going to get a monster because he's a bit old now. So for him, I made him a Barley hat out Cascade 220, and it's just a very simple, straightforward pattern. It's by Tin Can Knits. It's sized for babies up to adults. It's very simple. It's a free pattern, and it really can't be beat for a simple, straightforward hat pattern. I really like the way it looks as well. Let me show you. So I'm looking off there because that's where my monitor is. I haven't got a mirror, but it's just a really nice, straightforward, cozy hat pattern in worsted weight. I've done it in superwash, Cascade 220 superwash, so it can just be slung in the washing machine. It's a good rugged hat, and that was going to be for the oldest nephew because he plays football and goes outside and rides bikes and things and wants something that's fairly robust. And then I knit hand spun monster from my head, and that's the picture. I'm really pleased with that. It's fondant fibre Falkland silk, and I'm really pleased with how it came out. When I do monsters for my nephews and nieces, I tend to wing it, and I don't write it down except to make notes for matching limbs, because I'm not doing it to release patterns. I'm doing it because I wanted a unique gift for my nephew or my niece, and that's kind of what I do. And my monsters owe so much to Rebecca Danger's monsters and to Fresh Stitches crocheted animals that I just would feel uncomfortable releasing them as patterns. So I never write them down. They're always good fun, and I don't feel any kind of sense of responsibility of making really good notes before I send it off. So that's what I did for the middle boy. And then for the youngest, I made this little cat. Got a little tail, got little ears, and I'm just really pleased with the way it turned out. I like his bum. I'm not quite sure. I think it needs some tinkering, this pattern. But you're thinking, well, why is the hat and the cat still here but not the monster? Well, the day before we were due to take the presents down, their cat died in an accident. And he was very, very beloved of my 3-year-old nephew, who was going to get the cat. Which is why I made him a cat, because he loves his cat. And there was no way I could give a 3-year-old a cat toy, a toy cat, when his cat's just died. So we shifted it around and gave the monster to the 3-year-old because he's not had a monster yet. So he got the monster, and the 2 oldest just got given some money. And I was just gutted because I'd managed to nail it this year. I got patterns, I'd got everything done, it was all knitted, there was no stress, there was no hassle, it was all done, and then the day before it all went horribly wrong. So I have heard that the middle nephew, who was due to get the monster, was quite disappointed he didn't get a monster. He never said it, never verbalised it, but he looked downcrest. Is it downcrest? Crestfallen. Sad. He didn't get his monster because he likes his monster. That's the trouble. He's got so many. I didn't feel guilty about giving it to his little brother. So, but I am really pleased with how the cat came out. So I'm probably going to keep him. And I'm going to tinker with this pattern a little bit. And I think I'm going to release the pattern at some point once it's been tinkered with. Because at the moment he kind of rolls forward just because I think the way that it's been stuffed, but also because the tail comes right out from the middle. So I'm going to do some things with short rows and stuff and see how it works out. And I'll keep this one because he's cute. But yeah, I feel that I can release this pattern because this is completely from my head. I didn't steal it from anyone else. It wasn't even inspired by anyone else. It was just me playing around with things and deciding that actually that really works as ears and shaping the bum and stuff. It just came straight from my head without inspiration from anyone else. So I think I might tinker with that pattern at some point. Next up, I have an iPad that's not looking at the right place. A shawl that I made with myself in mind, but I think I'm going to keep it as a pattern, as something to start off my gift box for this year. Having things ready to be gifted to people really helped this Christmas, so I'm definitely going to try and do that again this year. But this pattern is Windward by Heidi Kermeyer, and it's knit from Posh Yarn Miranda Heavy Lace, which is 70% alpaca, 20% silk and 10% cashmere. And I didn't write the colourway down. But it's such fun. It's got all these weird shapes and stocking stitch, guard stitch, reverse stocking stitch, increases, points. It's just a really fun, fairly straightforward project. As long as you keep an eye on where your markers go, it's pretty easy. And it's a really good shape. It sits really nicely. And like I say, I was tempted to keep it myself, but I have other purple shawls and I enjoyed making it, and it's got all these fun little things, and I think it would make a really nice present, probably for my sister-in-law. She's fond of purple too. So yeah, I'm really pleased with how it came out, and I really enjoyed knitting it. In fact, I would quite happily knit another one. So yeah, I do love Posh Yarn's colours and the bases. The Miranda is, they use that quite a lot, but it's just so much depth. You can see all the subtlety when it's knit up, all the different shades that's in there. I mean, that's what the colour actually is. But obviously it lightens up when it gets closer, and the camera just does that automatically. But you can see close up, you can see the different shades of purple in it, and it's one of the reasons I love Posh Yarn, the depth of colour that they use. And finally, I have some spinning. I only finished this week. I've got itchy nose. It's driving me crazy. I don't want to stop the podcast and go and get a tissue. That'll teach me not to be prepared. It's probably all the fibre. In fact, yeah, it's fibre, I think. I finished this 2 days ago. This project I only finished at the weekend. It sat around for quite a while. It's the first fibre I've had from Hobbledehoy, and it's a 50% merino, 50% tencel, and the colourway is Lagoon. Actually, that's a pretty accurate colour. Yeah, it's pretty accurate. And it's worsted spun. It's 2-ply construction. Really pleased with it. It's quite applied it reasonably tightly because I do like I like the way tightly plied yarns give a little bit of bounce, and it also protects it a bit from pilling, which merino tends to, but the tencel should provide plenty of strength and luster. Yeah, really, really, really pleased with how it came out, and quite sad it took me so long to finish it, but it was mainly because of all the Christmas shenanigans, to coin a phrase from Amy Beth of the Fat Squirrel. And it's a fingering weight, and I got 383 meters. It's a 4 ounce. It was a 4 ounce braid, so I've got 114 grams. So that's why it's the yardage is as good as it is, because the plying tightly obviously gives you less yardage because it pulls it in when you tightly ply things. But I'm really pleased with it. I think it's come out really beautiful, and I would happily buy from Hobbledehoy again. Yeah, that could be an expensive mistake actually starting to buy. I'm really sorry, I've got an itchy eye now. Oh dear, I'm falling apart. Should have just like hosed myself down with anti-bac wash, and hopefully then I wouldn't sort of have things itching and sniffling and all the rest of it. Anyway, that's the last of my FOs, which is, I think, it's quite a decent amount really. Yeah, that's all I've got for FOs. What I have is my nose to the grindstone next. First off, we will start with some new socks, which is from using Regia Snowflake colour, and in the highly exotic 07709 colourway. And I've done my first sock. I really like the effect that this has, this sort of snowflake effect. I really like the striping as well. I've got most of a foot done. Let me see if I've got I've got the label here. I think I showed you the label before, but it's yeah, Regia Snowflake colour. And the yarn feels slightly different from what they've used in the past. It feels more silky, more smooth, definitely more smooth than it has in the past, and I really like it. I mean, it's still definitely workhorse yarn, but it's got a certain element of smoothness to it. I don't know if they've changed their spinning techniques or their wool suppliers or what, but I'm really enjoying knitting with it. I think they'll make really nice socks. So those socks are just my normal vanilla socks, toe up, fish lips kiss heel, increases on the calf, and 1x1 rib at the top for 2 inches, and each one has toe shapings according to my actual foot shape. So that's that. Next up, I have, this is a new bag that I haven't shown you. Did I show you it? It's Knit and Stitch Bits, who is actually one of the, is it the Knit and Stitch Bits? Yes, Knit and Stitch Bits, who has donated a bag prize for the Cal, and this is one of her medium bags, and the prize I think is a large bag. And she also sells these there we go, stash ring pulls or key rings, and nice lining, spotty lining. And inside this lovely bag is a new project that you've not seen. This is yarn I showed you in the last episode, which is out of Nash Island, Starcroft Nash Island Light, and it's the Lobster Bake colourway. And I am knitting myself some mittens, and I've just got up to the point where I want to add in a thumb, and I have to say I really like this yarn. It's great. It's really substantial. You know it's going to hold up for years, but it's not too prickly at all, and I think it'll be even less prickly once it's been washed. But I love the depth of the orange. It's really gorgeous. You don't see a lot of the subtleties in the skein. That's the right colour. But this pattern is a pattern I made up a year or two ago, and I used Rowan Lima, which is very soft alpaca, and I made it fingerless, which is great, and they're lovely and soft and warm and all the rest of it, but I really wanted some orange mittens. I thought they'd go quite well with these. What do you think? I think it'll go well. Sorry about the rattling for my tins of notions in each of my bag. So I want them to be mittens that I can wear outside, and my idea, instead of them being mitts, was to make them convertible, because that just makes life easier if I can just fold back when I'm getting keys out to open or lock the door, and just make life a lot easier. Now, I don't like the traditional convertibles which just sort of flap around and have to be fixed, but I saw in 2011 a pattern on Twist Collective called Stony Brook. You see, and it's by Wendy Poush, P-O-U-S-H, and what it does is the convertible top bit is attached to the body of the mitten, so it doesn't flap around, it's just kept very neat. And I've wanted to make these kind of convertible gloves since I saw the pattern, because it just really appeals to me. And but I originally tried to do that pattern in the Lima, and it just didn't work because the I'm sorry, I'm really distracted because I've still got something in my eye. I'm really sorry. The reason it didn't work is the really beautiful cabling was just completely lost in the fuzzy alpaca. It just didn't work, didn't make it pop enough. So I made just these plain ribbed mitts, and I really, really like the way the ribbed mitts fit, which is why I wanted to do these mittens in that ribbed style, but use the convertible top that was in the Stony Brook pattern. So the reason I've stopped at this point is because I know I'm going to have to start working out how to do the top bit, and I haven't had the brain power to do so because colds. That's why. So that's kind of next up for when I've got some mental capacity, or I might just put that on waste yarn and knit the body of the second mitt. Just get ahead so I can just finish it off quickly when I've got the brain power. Oh no, I have another one, excuse me. This is in a separate bag. This is a spinning project, and clunk. This is in fibre superwash merino that I got from World of Wool, very cheap, and I dyed it using Wilton's food dyes, and it's on my new spindle that I got to use with my Christmas bunny from my other half. And this is a spindle from a spindle maker I've not used before, which is Just Ducky handspun, and it's got a lignum tip. Let's see if I can. There we go, a lignum tip, a black ebony whirl, which is this bit, and then the shaft is, I can never pronounce this, Padauk, P-A-D-A-U-K. It's this lovely red wood, and I've got a few spindles in this, and I really should remember how to pronounce it because I've looked it up a couple of times. But the style is one that Just Ducky has developed, which is called the pierced heart. And if you can, I don't know if I can show it because it's too much on the spindle. But the shaft goes right into the whirl, and it kind of looks like a heart that's been pierced, essentially. And it gives this sort of lovely heart-shaped tip. And it also gives a really nice heavy nose. It really, you know, I can barely have to prop it up. It's got really lovely heavy tip, which gives it lots of lovely balance. And I promised I would do this with my next spindle, but I can't do it because the fibre. See, I should have waited until I had nothing on it. Show you. No, it's not gonna. No, I'm gonna have to show you what it looks like spinning without fibre on when I get around to that. Maybe show you in the next episode. Because yeah, if you're a spindle spinner, you want to see how it works. But I've been really, really pleased with how it's spun. I'm really pleased that I used my Christmas money to get this. And I was so jammy again. I got away with not having to pay customs on it. Again, despite all the forms being filled in correctly, they just didn't nail me for it. And that's the second spindle that's happened to in the last few months. So I've been very, very lucky because spindles are by far my most expensive purchase from overseas. But I'm really, really happy with it. It's beautiful. And the reason I wanted to get this with my Christmas money is because it is so different from the other spindles I've got. It's like a cross between a Tibetan and a Russian. And I really like it. It's really beautiful. And I'll put a link in the show notes to show you a photo of what it looks like without the fibre on it, because it actually, hang on a second, I might have a photo in here. It's not going to let me do it. Why isn't it letting me do it? It's going to play. I was going to say something rude, but I'm not going to, because who knows who's around while you watch this. Yeah, I'll put a link to what it looks like as a photo without having the fibre on it, because it's got lovely sort of shaping around here. It's really lovely. So this is what the fibre looks like pre-drafted, and it really needed pre-drafting. I don't know what I did to this fibre, because it was so compacted. It's not felted, because it's not just, it is superwash, so it's not felted, but it just felt really stuck together and matted, and I really had to yank to pre-draft it. But once it's pre-drafted, it's fine. There's nothing, there's no neppy bits or anything from it being felted. It's fine. I don't know what I did. It must have just been really compacted. But I think it's going to be really pretty when it's spun up. I think the greens and purples and blues that I use to dye it using the food dyes, I think they've come out really well. I think it'll be really pretty and subtle yarn when it's finished. So that's what I've been doing. Couldn't resist using my new spindle. It came really quickly, by the way. Came within a few weeks, which from the US is pretty good. Having said that, coming from the US is usually one of the quicker overseas postal services, I have to say. There are lots of places where it's a lot slower. So that's it for my, no it's not it for my nose to grindstone. Where has it gone? What have I done with my project, my big project that I've been working on? This is what's been holding all my attention recently. It is my own pattern. I showed you my first version in the last episode, I think, and it's using the chart in the middle is from the refraction shawlette pattern that I've written. To show you again over the, you can see diamonds anyway. The centre panel is using the lace charts from my refraction shawlette pattern, and I wanted to make a big shawl version of that, but I also didn't want it to be very ornate lace. You might have noticed I tend to like more workaday shawls because they're just going to get battered up otherwise. But this yarn is Dye for Yarn Sock BFL fingering, and it's lovely yarn, really lovely yarn, really beautiful. And the colourway is Wooden Treasure Chest, and I've got 2 skeins of it, which is a total of 800 meters, and I'm alternating skeins because there's some subtle differences and I think it would show otherwise. So the first version I did the increases differently from this, and the wings were too short and it didn't shape right, and it was too tight across the top because I did an I-cord border and that wasn't elastic enough, so I went back to a garter stitch border, but I made it 4 stitches wide instead of 3 stitches wide, which is what the shawlette has, and it just gives it something to anchor against, because I've done 2 increases on the right side at the edge and 1 increase on the wrong side of the edge. I've not done an increase here, just the increases that are involved in the shaping of the lace chart in the middle, so that's on the inside of those 2 wing panels. It's not mirrored against the stitch markers, if you see what I mean. So it's the only increases are done within this lace chart, so there's just 1 increase on each side, on each right side row. So it makes the wings much longer than they were in the original version, in the garter stitch version, because it's a different increase pattern. And I'm really pleased with how it's going. I mean, already the wingspan is, I don't know, it's probably a good 4.5 feet. It's good good size. And I think I'm probably, I've done, I think, how many repeats have I done of the main chart? I've done 3.5 repeats of the main chart. And I think I'm probably going to make it 4.5, maybe 5.5 repeats of the main chart. And then I'm going to put in the next chart, which is all lace diamonds. And I'll probably do 2 repeats of those, where there's only 1 repeat in the shawlette, maybe 3 repeats if I can get away with it, and then do the border. And I plan to do the border all the way across, I think. I'm not sure yet. Anyway, it's getting to the point where I'm going to have to start putting lifelines in. So if I get out of whack with my yardage, I can just pull back and not worry too much about where I am in repeat wise. I'll sort of make notes of where I put my lifelines in and stuff. So I think it's going to go, I think it's working really nicely, and I like the yarn in the stocking stitch better than I did in the garter stitch. I think it's because it's BFL, it's a very smooth fibre, and I think having it in stocking stitch really emphasises that smoothness, and it'll be nice and drapey, I think. So that's been taking all the time because it's yeah, I got to about here in the garter stitch version and then had to rip it all back, so it's taken a while, but I'm enjoying knitting it because it's just the centre panel that's lace. There's actually quite a lot of knitting that I don't have to look at, so I can just like motor along in the wings and purl back on the wrong side, and the only bit I need to look at the pattern for is the centre bit. So I can sort of read and stuff and not worry too much about being distracted. So that is all my nose to the grindstone stuff that I'm actively working on at the minute. I've got some stuff to show you for Crafting Library because I got 2 Christmas presents from my Amazon wish list. And the first one was in addition to the money my partner gave me for my spindle. He got me a book to open, so I had a present to open on the day, and that's Increase Decrease by Judith Durant, 99 Step-by-Step Methods. And I've got the cast on bind off version of this book, and I love it. It's a really, really useful book, and I just keep it by my sofa and I can just pick it up and look at it whenever I want to. And that's why I wanted this book, because it's got exactly the same thing but for increases and decreases. So it shows all the different methods, all the different, like the right sides and the wrong sides of how it looks when you do the increases and decreases. It divides it up into categories, so you can sort of say, well, I want to do, for instance, this is yarn over multiple increases. So using a yarn over, but you want to put extra increases in. And it shows you how it looks, it describes how it's done. It's just a really handy book. It's ring bound, so it lies flat, which is always useful. And it's just a really, really nice, useful book. So I wanted to show that to you and say, now I've looked at it, I would happily recommend it. And I've put links in the show notes for this and the other book I'm going to show you to Amazon on both UK and the US. And if you use those links that I've put on the website, you give me some fees if you actually buy the book. Actually, I think it works if you buy anything after using my Amazon affiliate links. I will get a small fee for anything you buy after clicking on that link, so it just helps to go towards postage costs and things if you think about it. The other book I got was this one, 750 Knitting Stitches, the Ultimate Knit Stitch Bible, and I wanted this for a while because I love stitch dictionaries. pretty much one of my real habits, knitting habits, is collecting stitch dictionaries. And this one is particularly nicely put together. It's a good range of stitches. I mean, 750, and it's got the separate sections, contents. Don't know if you can. Different contents, different kinds of stitches, the abbreviations, etc. And within each category, they've got the pictures of what the stitch looks like, and then it's got the instructions for how it works, which is pretty standard, but these are really good clear photos. I really like how they've done it. And some of them, they've got charts. So not all of them, but some of them, they've got charts. Probably the ones that need extra illustration. It seems a little inconsistent that some have charts and some don't. However, the font is really nice and clear, I think. Really nice and clear, and the pictures are really nice and clear. They've used good yarn to show off the stitch patterns, because sometimes they don't use yarn that sort of really emphasizes either the lace or the cable in the best way, and this one does. It's got little tips and things in sort of boxes throughout. It's got a colourwork section, and that is charted. It's a really, really lovely book, and I mean, it's got like big pictures, so it's sort of big colourwork patterns, motifs. It's got edgings at the back, different edgings, which are always useful because they seem to be in small supply in a lot of stitch dictionaries, the edgings. This one's quite fun, the short loop fur edging. Which is always fun, but it's a beautiful book. It's really, really lovely. It's by St Martin's Griffin is the publishers, or yeah, and I really, really like it. I think if you are going to look at getting stitch dictionaries that are straightforward and simple to use, but also have a good range of patterns in it, this seems to have a very good range, and I think it would be a good starting place to have in your knitting library. If you have no other stitch dictionaries, this would be a very good place to start. And the fact is, I've got quite a lot of stitch dictionaries, and I'm really happy I've got this one as well. So even if you've got others, I think it will be a good purchase. There's lots of fun things in it, and it's really beautifully put together. It feels solid and substantial, and the pages won't tear as soon as you look at them. So I just wanted to share those two books with you because they were my Christmas presents and they were knitting related, and I wanted to share them. So Splashed Out, I've already shared with you about the spindle. I didn't mention that it was a 34-gram spindle, and it was 11 3/4 inches, because I tend to like longer spindles because it's just easier, because I'm sat back and it's just easier to balance the flicking tip and sort of support my hand by sort of sticking my elbow into my hip. It just makes it an easier angle if it's a longer spindle for me. I know some people don't want big long spindles, but for me that's what I prefer, and it also gives you more space to play with as you wind your cop on. It just makes it a lot more straightforward for me. It means you don't have to wind off as often. So I just thought I'd mention that. In my other things, I've got some stuff that I got in the Black Friday. I'm not showing you everything, I'll show you other bits as we go as episodes come up. But I wanted to share with you another Christmas present. That was from my brother and sister-in-law. When I say brother and sister-in-law, what I actually mean is my sister-in-law went and got it because she knows what to get me. It is a very beautiful Countess Blaze, and the base is Lord of Silk DK, and the colourway is Nightmare. And I've used this base and I love this base. It's gorgeous, and this colour, this beautiful dark teal, is stunning. So of course, what do you do when you've only got one skein of DK? You buy another one, because, oh my god, I've just stabbed myself with something. That was a splinter off the label. Ow. Stabbed. The base is 75% Falkland Merino and 25% Mulberry Silk, and you get 240 metres in each skein. So having two skeins means I can do a hat and a cowl, or a big cowl, and it's definitely yarn to be worn close to the skin. It's just so soft and beautiful. You might notice they're slightly different shades. That's because this one was the gift, and I bought a second one and it's different dye lot. But because one's probably going to be a cowl and one's going to be a hat, no one will see the difference. But I wanted to show that off because it's beautiful. I love it a lot. My mum, as well as giving me the Stitch Dictionary, gave me Countess Blaze voucher, so I've ordered something else from Countess Blaze after I ordered that. Oops. So the Black Friday, I kind of have a tradition of buying stuff from the US and Canada that I can't normally buy because they're over the customs limit. And what happens is quite often people give a nice flat discount across all their products, and even if it's 5% or 10%, it quite often brings the price of the yarn down under the £15 customs limit for me, which means I can buy yarn that I normally won't buy because I don't want to pay the customs charges on top of the cost of the yarn and the postage from overseas. So those discounts often mean that I feel I can justify buying yarn from the US or Canada, because the discount usually takes care of a big chunk of the postage, if you see what I mean. So this first one I bought is from Joma Yarns, and I've seen Joma Yarns on Etsy and drooled over the yarns. And this is Casuarino, which is 70% superwash merino, 20% cashmere and 10% nylon. It's a 3-ply fingering weight, sock weight yarn. It's 115 grams, and that's 406 yards, which is 370 meters. Excuse me, I'm going to blow my nose again. It's so itchy. Oh, so sorry. And the colourway is Hummingbird, and this is unbelievably soft. And the fact it's a 3-ply means it's a really, really rounded, very rounded yarn, which means it'll look amazing in cables or garter stitch, something that, or seed stitch or moss stitch, something that would really pop. And it's really soft, but it doesn't look like it'll fall apart as soon as you look at it, because it's quite tightly plied. And with that yarn came a couple of samples as well, which is really nice, because it's always hard to know what different bases are going to be like just from the internet. And this one is Baby Blueface Discotheque, which is really pretty, and it's got a good firm twist to it. And this one is 100% superwash merino worsted in Fry Loves Lila, and that's so pretty. It's a single ply yarn. I love it. It's really squishy and soft, though it will pill as soon as you look at it. But it is lovely. Probably make a really nice hat. But that's always really nice when you get extra samples from people. So I have to say, my first experience of buying from Joma Yarns, very good. And I'll probably have to wait till next Black Friday to order some more. So the other company I traditionally buy from on Black Friday is Unwind Yarn Company. And Dana dyes beautiful yarn and fibre. And this, I had to get this. It's Journey Sock, which is 80% superwash merino and 20% nylon, and it's 400 yards from 100 grams. And the colourway is Le Grand Jatte. And I had to get it because I studied it when I did A-level history of art. And I stood in front of it in the Musée d'Orsay in Paris. And it's huge, absolutely enormous. I mean, it's the size of the wall in this, like this wall. It's the size of, from floor to ceiling, side to side. It's huge. And it's beautifully done. Absolutely stunning colour and detail. And it's such a calm and tranquil, beautiful painting. And when I saw the name of the colourway, I had to get it. I mean, it's in my favourite colours. Partly, you know, probably why I like the painting so much is because it's in these colours, which are the ones I'm normally attracted to. And I absolutely love it. And this base I've not had before, the Journey Sock, feels fantastically squishy. It's a 2-ply, I think. And it's really soft, really soft. So I need to make something beautiful out of that. I really love it. Highly recommend Unwind Yarn Company. Dana's stuff is beautiful, and her podcast, which is Just One More Row, is hilarious. She and Brittany do a fantastic job. It's an audio podcast, and it was one of the first ones I started listening to, and I love it. So highly recommend that. So the last two things I want to show you are fibre. And this first one is Hello Yarn. And it's Falkland top. It is 4 ounces and the colourway is Ghastly Silence. And I'm going to open it live on air because I haven't done it yet. So I just left it in the bag contained. This is all going to go everywhere. Now, I've never had Hello Yarn before. And I found, mainly because they sell out so fast. And I saw this as a pre-order. And I think it was to do with a spin along on one of the groups on Ravelry. And I just caught it. And it's fantastic. Look how poofy it is. It's so bouncy. It's got such lovely colours in it. Really rich. Deep. And I love that sort of jade green. And with this sort of, it's basically these beautiful sort of foresty colours. Absolutely love it. It's going to be a sod to get that back in the bag. I'll do that off air. And yeah, Hello Yarn is something that a lot of other podcasters rave about, and their club is very popular, and their updates sell out really fast. And I was really, really lucky to see a link to this pre-order. I think I saw it on Instagram, and I just pounced because I knew that's rare as hen's teeth to see that, and I really wanted to experience Hello Yarn, and I think it's going to be an amazing spin. I think I'm going to enjoy it so much because the prep is fantastic. It's just so soft and smooth and bouncy. It's really lovely, so I'm really going to enjoy spinning that. The other fibre I've got to show you is from Into the World, who go completely the other way in terms of packaging from Hello Yarn. This is 50% merino, 25% bamboo, 25% silk, and the colourway is 221B, which, as you know, is the address for Sherlock Holmes. And I could not resist this stunning, stunning fibre. I mean, just look at that. Isn't it sumptuous? It's sort of a ball gown. That's what it reminds me of, a beautiful ball gown. It's just stunning. So yeah, Into the World tends to pack things really tightly in a very neat bag. And Hello Yarn tends to leave everything loose and sort of leave it uncontained apart from the plastic bag. So it's very different. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? So pretty. I can't wait to spin that either. I think that's going to be an amazing project. It's going to look stunning. Really, really gorgeous, I think, when it's done. So yeah, that's it for Splashed Out. I've got plenty more to show you, but I've decided to ration it out over the next few weeks because I'm skint and I can't really afford to buy much more now until next Christmas, next Black Friday. But yeah, I'm terrible on Black Friday. I always go a bit mad because it gives me the opportunity to get stuff I normally can't do. Yeah. It's a weakness. What can I say? I watch all the podcasts all through the year and see all the gorgeous stuff that they knit with and spin with and go, I want that, it's gorgeous. So I kind of cave into that feeling at Black Friday. So, and the January sales as well. Yeah, I'm not going to apologise. I only spend money on yarn and fibre and spindles. That's it. I don't really spend my money on anything else because I never leave the house. So that, I think, is everything. I've not got anything for online community this week other than to say thank you so much for joining me over on the Ravelry group, chatting to me on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. I love talking to you. You guys help keep me sane, and I really appreciate you reaching out to me when you do. Thank you so much, and I hope that 2016 is a great year for you. And if it's not great, at least it will be educational. I really hope it's going to be a good year for you, and I really hope to spend some time with you over the next year too. So thank you for spending your time with me. It's been great fun as always catching up with you, and hopefully it won't be so long in between episodes, and I shall speak to you soon. Bye.